My name is Francis, nobody calls me Francis, Santiago, AKA Frank, AKA Frankie. I'm 88 and I was born on March 9th, 1936. I'm from the Bronx, New York City.
My name is Ella Merle Castino Santiago, July 3rd, 1939. I'm from a little farming town just north of Twilla, Utah called Erda. Well, our children organized this. They felt like it would be wonderful to have for generations to come, to let them know us. I've heard it said that if you don't do your family history and you don't make yourself known, it's as if you never existed. And our children wanted us to be able to tell the whole family what we believe in and why and how much we love them.
Let's start at the beginning, I guess. My mother and father are Felix Santiago, and my mother's name is Maria Magdalena Guzman Santiago. They were born in Puerto Rico, and they came to the United States in the late 20s. I was with my family for 16 years, and after that, I was in the Air Force for 4 years, and now I'm 88, and so a lot has transpired, but I was only with them for a very short time, but I learned a lot in those 16 years. My dad, my brother says, I can't remember how tall he was, but my brother said he was tall and very kind, hardworking. And he'd be gone a lot because he was a merchant seaman. So he'd work as a laborer on ships like the USS Constitution and the USS America. So he'd come home periodically after a voyage, home for 2 weeks, gone for whatever. And so that was Poppy, okay? That was Poppy. We were together for a short time. He died when I was 13, and so we didn't have much time together, but he was kind, he was gentle, he was quiet. I remember the love that he showed to me personally when one time I was asleep and just got home from outside playing with the gangs, not literally gangs, playing but street sports. Got home, was tired, and I just put my head down and I faked being asleep. And he undressed me and covered me up, and he said, I love you, Frank. That's all I remember, one of them. But he was just kind to me, and I was grateful for that. My mother never stopped working. She worked in factories, she worked doing this, doing that. There was always some income available to us because she just worked. And she took care of us. She was a fabulous cook. You could not get anything better. In fact, when I would visit in the military, them in Florida, my brother would say, I'm so glad you came. The biggest reason is the cooking that Mama puts on the table when we're both there. And she was just talented that way. But her gift, the gifts where she was just hardworking and loving and she would laugh. She just loved life. She was just a kind person. Never had anything negative to say about people. On the other hand, if you were out of line, she wasn't afraid to tell you that's not the right thing to do. You know, it's not a good idea to do that kind of thing. By the way, she was gorgeous. Absolutely beautiful. And I learned that early because we'd walk the streets of the neighborhood, one of our neighborhoods, and men would whistle, and I don't know what they said, but it was very embarrassing to this young kid. But I was very aware she was lovely. She was lovely. And she was religious. We're driving in a car. I almost get in an accident. And I just thought, okay, we're okay. And the voice in the back seat says, "Thank you, Jesus." Thank you, Jesus. And that's my mother. We had candles all over the place in the house. It was just something. All kinds of candles, all kinds of aroma. What's the word? Incense, and smells, and in the house, and it was a religious feeling. Now, she wasn't necessarily a big-time Catholic attendee, and she'd go to Mass once in a while at the big holidays and so forth, but she was religious. There's no question about that. And so in my life, as I look back, the "Thank you, Jesus" resonates. We knew and had a respect and love for God as part of our lives. There was a time when I realized something's not right. Dad was traveling a lot and so forth. Don't jump to any conclusions there, but with his business, and I knew something was wrong, but I can't pinpoint it. And all of a sudden, we weren't together. I can't remember why we weren't together, but I learned that we were being placed in different places. Bobby was already gone because he's 7 years older than I was. I remember going to two homes, apartments, and I can't remember one. They were good to me. I know that. No one was ever bad. And then the Duran family. Gosh, they were good. And they had a daughter that was almost like my sister. We traveled the subways going to take her to some sort of dancing school, and it was a family life, and we were having a great time. It was short-lived, and before long I went to another one, and Dad would come home from one of his trips, but I never could understand what the problem was. But they weren't together, and all of a sudden, he was gone. We'll go to the funeral home, typical funeral home, and I learned that he's gone. I can't remember the emotion, but I went to the casket one time, and there was a machine. You know how you buy bubblegum machines and kinds like that? There was a machine where you could make a coin, a little coin, like a star in it, and around the coin you could print things on it. And I printed my name on the coin. And I was kneeling by his coffin, saying goodbye. 13. What do you say? So I took the coin and slipped it in his coat pocket. Said goodbye. That was the last time. He was such a good guy. Well, all of a sudden, I'm involved with not only my lovely mother, but with a guy that I didn't know. His name is Ralph Silva, VA, S-I-L-V-A. And we lived a family life. He always good to me. Had a little problem with booze. One time we came to blows. And I'd locked myself in a bathroom and for privacy's sake, and he broke the door down and just punched it down. Not a big physical thing. And he said some things. I wasn't very old. I couldn't have been more than 14. Put in perspective, I'm 3 years away from leaving home. Okay? So it comes to a little fisticuff things, and he backed off. My mother put a stop to it. And nothing really, it wasn't huge, like a movie scene. It was just a quick little, and I laugh at it now, but it didn't seem to affect me then. I don't even know what I remember after that. Mother quieted things down, and somehow I survived that. And Mother did too.
My father was a true cowboy. He loved horses and he knew how to handle them. And his mother died when he was 2 years old. The only mother figure he ever had was a sister that was 13 years old. But my grandfather must have been a very special man because he raised 8 children, and his wife died, like I said, having the 8th child. But the home he lived in, no running water, no electricity, none of the conveniences whatsoever. And how he raised 8 children in that home alone, with the only daughter that could help in any way was the 13-year-old. But he raised a great family. They were all honest, hardworking men. And he too had the huge ranch. So he taught them how to work hard and to be honest and to develop a great family unit. They all were very best of friends. Back to my father. He was the most fun man. Sense of humor. Everyone loved my father. He was the peacemaker. If there was ever any dispute between the brothers or anyone, they came to my father and he would talk it out. And these brothers of his were also great cowboys. They grew up on this big ranch with horses, and they raised livestock for the rodeos, and they all worked together as a family. One of my favorite memories was he had this beautiful horse, mare, and one day he came and he said, "Come on down to the field with me." And there was a brand new baby colt, and he said, "This is your horse." And he let me have this baby horse. And so, I taught it how to lead with the rope on it and how to saddle it and everything. It was my pet. He respected my mother and the kids. He smoked, but he never, ever smoked around us. He would go outside, sit on the porch. If we were ever in the car, he never smoked around us, never smoked in the house. He respected my mother, who was a true Latter-day Saint lady. And he respected her, he supported her in her religion, and made sure that all of her children went to church with her. Like I said, we grew up on a ranch and we had lots of rodeos in the family. And he would make sure that everything was centered after our church so that we could participate in that and also be part of his life. He was honest. Like I said, he made sure that in his dealings was never necessary to have a handshake. Other than a handshake, there was never a contract. If he made a deal with someone, it was an honest deal. My father supported us in everything we did. And if we gave a talk, or if we were in a play, or in a dance, anything we ever did, he came to support us. One time he even joked, he said, you know, I'm a better member of the church than you guys. You guys are talking about someone. I'll never forget that. He said, I'm a better member than you are. Anyway, it was just a great father. I don't remember him ever getting mad at me. I don't remember him not supporting me in everything I did. We'd all get on our horses. We all had a horse in the family, and we worked together on the farm. We worked together. We helped each other. We had a severe winter, and my father had cattle down in the lower fields that he had to get hay to. And in those days, we had a team of horses, and he hitched up the horses and put on the trailer and took the hay down to the cattle. And it was really hard because it was a situation where he had to make the horses plow through the snow. And when he returned, he pulled into the driveway and called us, and we went out, and he said, help me. He said, I don't feel good. And so we took the horses and took them and put them into their barn, the corral. Well, my mother took him to the Twilla Hospital, and the doctor said, oh, no problem, it's just heartburn. Go home and don't eat any more salt, and rest, you'll be fine. Well, come to find out, it was a severe heart attack. And so he didn't get better, so my mother took him into Salt Lake to a man that my father had grown up with, Dr. Jimmy Orn. He said, no, you've got to change your way of life. There's no way that you can do what you're doing. And so we all jumped in and did everything we could possibly help my father with. And we had him for 4 years. He would be with us, but he knew his limits physically. And wow. I turned 16 on July 3rd. And a week and a half later, in the middle of the night, I heard a siren coming down the road. And it pulled into our driveway. And we were told that our father died in the night. And they took him. We didn't get to see him leave the house. The ambulance people took him. And I don't think I've ever how I loved that guy. He was so good and so fun, sense of humor, so loving. Anyway, you know, when you love someone and you love being around him, and you don't realize it at the time. And then through the years, you realize how much you miss having a dad, seeing what my mother's gone through. But I guess in the long run, we all stuck it out together. And we remained dear friends. We included our mother in everything we did. And she was a part of our life. She was a part of our kids' life. And even the grandkids, some of them knew my mother.